Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven goes quiet, not because God left you, but because He's preparing your revelation. Your silence wasn't a weakness, it was a strategy. They thought your stillness meant surrender, but the angels knew it meant rebirth. Let me tell you a story. In 1969, an eagle was found wounded in the Rockies. Hunters thought it was done for. It couldn't fly, couldn't hunt, couldn't defend itself. But as months passed, the eagle stayed silent, healing beneath its feathers, hidden from sight. When it finally rose again, it soared higher than before, stronger from every wound. That's you, heaven's eagle, the one they buried too soon. They celebrated too early. When you went quiet, they mistook it for defeat. They told stories about your failure, twisted rumors, and laughed behind closed doors. They didn't know that God had pulled you away to protect your peace, that your silence was a divine separation, not a downfall. While they chased validation, you chased restoration. And in the stillness, heaven rebuilt what the world tried to destroy. Because silence is the sound of preparation. And when God hides you, He's not punishing you, He's positioning you. They needed your energy to feel alive. You were their light source, their emotional charge, their mirror of meaning. When you withdrew, they panicked. They couldn't feed off your peace anymore, so they tried to provoke you, posting, gossiping, pretending they'd moved on. But deep down, they missed the power that surrounded you. They missed your presence that made the rooms brighter. What they didn't realize is this: the chosen don't lose when they step back, they multiply. Every time you stayed silent instead of clapping back, heaven doubled your favor. They called your stillness pride. They said you changed. They whispered that you think you're better, but you were just learning to hear God's whisper above their noise. You learned that some wars don't need soldiers, they need silence. Because silence is sacred ground. It's where God moves unseen. And while they were loud in their judgment, you were quiet in your growth. Now your peace is your proof. Your glow is your gospel. Your silence exposed their truth. When you stopped defending yourself, their lies started collapsing under their own weight. Every mask they wore began to crack because there was no one left to blame. See, chosen ones don't chase rumors. They outlast them. You let time testify, and time has a perfect memory. Now, everything they used to shame you is what heaven is using to elevate you. They thought you lost because you left the room. But the truth is, you left the room because you outgrew the energy. The comeback wasn't loud, it was divine. While they were watching for drama, God was writing destiny. You didn't post it, you didn't prove it, you just became it. Your rise wasn't for revenge, it was for revelation. Because when the chosen rise, they don't rise to show off, they rise to show light. And now, every eye that once looked down on you can't look away. Not because you shouted, but because you shone. Heaven never needed noise to announce your victory. The same silence that made them doubt you was the silence God used to anoint you. You learned patience when others demanded performance. You learned power in the pause. And now, every delayed blessing, every unanswered question, every quiet night, it all makes sense. Because your silence was not the end. It was the setup. And now the world is witnessing what heaven already decided. That you were never losing, only loading. Chosen one. They mistook your calm for collapse. They mistook your rest for ruin. But now they see, silence was your secret weapon all along. Because those who move with God don't need to shout. They just rise. They never expected the quiet one to roar. The same people who mocked your stillness are now whispering your name in disbelief. They can't comprehend how someone they counted out is now walking in divine overflow. See, they were addicted to the version of you that explained, that apologized, that proved. But you stopped feeding their need for control. You realized, peace is power and silence is strategy. Now your success speaks a language their ego can't understand. Every move you make in grace is a sermon they can't ignore. You didn't clap back, you ascended. Because when you let go of proving your worth, heaven starts showcasing it for you. They thought isolation meant abandonment, but isolation was your initiation. God separated you to strengthen you, to teach you how to walk when no one's clapping, how to trust when no one's talking. It was in those silent nights, when you cried to heaven and no answer came, that your spirit learned resilience. You didn't just survive the silence, you mastered it. Now, solitude doesn't scare you, it sanctifies you. And every time they wonder how you kept your faith through the drought, remind them, a seed never grows on the surface. It grows underground. You were never alone. You were being rooted for the rise. Your silence became their mirror. Without your reaction, they had to face themselves. Every cruel word they spoke, every manipulative move they made, it started echoing back. Because spiritual law is simple. What you send out always returns home. And while you were rebuilding in peace, they were haunted by the guilt they tried to bury. That's the beauty of divine justice. You don't have to expose them. God already did. Now, they're learning the hard way that silence doesn't mean you lost. It means heaven took over. Your absence preached a sermon their pride couldn't unhear. The storm didn't break you, it baptized you. You entered it in pain, but you emerged in power. Every time life stripped you down to nothing, heaven was clothing you in purpose. They saw the loss, but not the lesson. They saw the tears, but not the transformation. Now, every scar carries sacred proof that you're not defined by what tried to destroy you, but by the faith that refused to die inside you. And that's what separates the chosen from the crowd. They bend, but they don't break. They pause, but they don't perish. They fall silent, but only to rise louder in spirit. You became everything they said you couldn't, quietly. You built peace while they built rumors. You built faith while they built walls. And now the very silence they mocked is the foundation of your strength. You learned that divine timing doesn't need witnesses. It just needs obedience. That's why your blessings didn't arrive when they expected them to. They arrived when you stopped expecting them to. Because heaven blesses those who trust in stillness, not those who chase in noise. And now your peace is proof that victory isn't shouted, it's lived. You didn't just rise, you resurrected. Every time they buried your name, God turned it into soil for your next season. Every ending they celebrated became the seed of your rebirth, and now your glow confuses them, because they can't understand how someone who went through hell came out with heaven in their eyes. That's the paradox of the chosen. You're refined in fire but crowned in light. You're silenced by men but spoken for by God. And when you rise eternal, chosen one. You were never forgotten, never forsaken, never finished. Your silence was divine surgery, removing every false connection, every hidden enemy, every unworthy attachment. And now that you've healed, your voice will carry authority it never had before. You didn't lose anything, you gained everything that truly mattered. Because your silence didn't break you, it built you. Their downfall became your deliverance. What they built to block you became the bridge God used to lift you. Every scheme, every betrayal, every whisper meant to break your name, heaven turned into confirmation of your calling. They dug pits and you prayed over them. They planned storms and you danced in the rain. That's the mystery of divine reversal. What they meant for evil became your elevation. Because God doesn't just restore, He reverses. And when He reverses, He makes sure they watch, not for revenge, but for revelation. So they'll know, you didn't rise because of them, you rose despite them. The same silence that protected you is now speaking louder than any word you could ever say. You don't need to defend your peace anymore, it defends itself. Every eye that once overlooked you can now see what heaven saw all along. You are not who they remember, you are who God revealed. Your stillness was the cocoon, your rise the butterfly. They wanted to see you crawl, but heaven destined you to soar. And now your presence carries quiet authority, the kind that shakes spirits, not egos. That's what happens when you walk with heaven's approval instead of man's applause. You were never the underdog, you were undercover. Heaven hid you while the world misjudged you. Every delay was a divine disguise. God made sure they couldn't recognize your greatness until it was too late to stop it. You looked overlooked, but you were being preserved. You looked forgotten, but you were being fortified. That's why your rise feels so sudden to them, because it wasn't public preparation, it was private transformation. And the ones who once ignored you are now quoting your strength like scripture. Because when the chosen rise, it's never random, it's revelation on schedule. They thought your silence was empty, but it was sacred. Inside it, you rewired your soul. You learned to listen deeper, pray stronger, and move slower. You stopped reacting and started responding. You realize that real power doesn't announce itself, it arrives. And when it arrives, it doesn't need validation, it carries vibration. That's why your peace unsettles them now. It's not arrogance, it's anointing, because silence trains you to stop fighting for attention and start walking in alignment. And now, your very existence preaches that still waters run deep. Heaven never needed your noise, it needed your obedience. While they chased popularity, you chased purpose. While they built platforms, you built character. And now, heaven has promoted you beyond what any man could manage. Because God's rewards are never rushed, He hides His greatest treasures until they're fully ready to carry the weight of His glory. That's why the delay was necessary. Your destiny required depth, and that depth was dug in the silence. Now, every move you make echoes eternity, because what was once quiet restoration has become visible revelation. You are living proof that silence doesn't mean surrender, it means strategy. And strategy is sacred when heaven designs it. You didn't need to shout your vision, you just needed to become it. They couldn't hear your prayers, but they're now witnessing your answers. They couldn't see your progress, but they're now standing in your overflow. And all of it, every tear, every pause, every quiet moment, was God writing your victory in invisible ink. The moment you stopped explaining yourself, heaven started revealing you. Because silence is not weakness, it's wisdom in motion. Chosen one, the silence that once hurt you became the sanctuary that healed you. And now your rise isn't just personal, it's prophetic. It's proof that God's timing always tells the loudest truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your peace. You don't owe anyone a warning for your glow. You've already proven enough by surviving what was meant to silence you. Heaven is preparing your public vindication. 4 years you carried your crown in private, unseen, uncelebrated, underestimated. You endured trials that could have broken anyone else, yet you stayed faithful in the shadows. Now, the same God who trained you in silence is about to announce you in light. This isn't revenge, it's revelation. Every hidden blessing is being unveiled. Every quiet prayer is being amplified. Those who once dismissed you will soon witness your divine unveiling. Because when God decides to reveal what He's been building, He doesn't whisper it, He declares it. Your season of secrecy is ending. Your era of visibility has begun. They're about to see what obedience really looks like. They thought favor was found in followers, in applause, in validation. But God is about to show them that true favor is found in stillness, in surrender, in unseen faith. He's elevating you not because of your noise, but because of your nearness to Him. The doors they tried to close, heaven never needed them. The tables they refused to let you sit at, God built you your own. And when He sets it, even your enemies will have to watch you feast. Because vindication doesn't arrive with vengeance, it arrives with visibility. And that visibility is heaven's, I told you so. Your light will not be hidden any longer. Every seed planted in faith during your silent season is now breaking through the soil. The world is about to see what heaven has already crowned. You are stepping into divine recognition, not fame, but fulfillment. Not attention, but assignment. This is when heaven's fingerprints become visible in your life. Opportunities will start aligning. People will start noticing. But you'll know, it's not a coincidence, it's calling. Because God waited until your heart could handle visibility without vanity. Now your glow is guarded by grace. The very ones who questioned your faith will come seeking your wisdom. Those who mocked your silence will soon need your sound. They'll remember how calm you were when everything fell apart, how you didn't fold when the world turned against you. And now, they'll want to know how you made it. And you'll tell them, it wasn't luck, it was alignment, because chosen ones aren't built in crowds, they're refined in caves. And what God births in silence always shakes the world in sound. Your rise will be their revelation that heaven always finishes what it starts. You are entering your Esther moment. The same palace that once ignored your existence will now open its gates in your honor. The same stage that once overlooked you will now echo your name. But don't forget, you didn't rise to be seen. You rose to be sent. Your elevation is not entertainment, it's an assignment. God is positioning you where your presence carries purpose, where your light liberates others from darkness. Because vindication isn't about proving your worth, it's about proving His power. You are living evidence that what's built on faith cannot fall by rumor. Heaven is about to make sure your silence was worth it. Every unanswered prayer, every lonely night, every unseen battle, none of it was wasted. The reward isn't just in the rise, it's in the revelation that you were never alone. Angels walked with you through every heartbreak, grace covered you through every misunderstanding, and now that same grace is writing your redemption story, one victory at a time. The chosen don't just recover, they resurrect, and your resurrection will be loud enough for generations to feel. Chosen one, this is your moment of unveiling. The silence that once hid you has become heaven's stage. You are not coming back, you are coming forth. Every eye that doubted you will see the light they tried to dim. Because when God speaks, even silence becomes a sermon. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning, and this time, heaven is narrating it publicly. Your rise is no longer just for you, it's for them. God didn't bring you through the valley just to leave others wandering there. Your victory has become a voice for every soul still suffering in silence. You are their sign that survival is possible, that faith still works, that pain can become prophecy. Every scar you carry is a roadmap for someone still lost in their storm. When they see you standing, they'll remember that heaven doesn't forget its warriors. You are the proof they've been praying for. That silence isn't the end, it's the beginning of divine strength. So don't hide your story, speak it, because your breakthrough is someone else's blueprint. The same silence that once isolated you is now connecting you. Your testimony is calling out across timelines, screens, and hearts, gathering other chosen ones who thought they were alone. They'll find your light like a lighthouse in the fog. They'll feel your words and realize that what they're enduring isn't punishment, it's preparation. That's the beauty of divine timing. God raises one chosen one to remind the others that their rise is coming too. You are part of heaven's chain reaction, a spiritual ignition spreading through the quiet souls of this world. What once broke you has become your broadcast, and your rise is waking the sleeping ones. You were chosen not just to overcome darkness, but to expose it. That's why your life feels like a battlefield. You weren't sent to fit in, you were sent to awaken. Your calm disturbs chaos. Your peace dismantles manipulation. Every space you enter shifts because your energy carries divine order. Now your rise is shaking the same structures that tried to contain you. And as you ascend, others are watching and realizing they can too. You don't need to preach with words. Your glow is the sermon. Your stillness is the scripture. Your victory is the verse that sets the captives free. You are heaven's echo. Your story reverberates through time. Every prayer whispered in pain is now answering someone else's cry. You became the message you once needed to hear. And that's the real reason you were hidden for so long. God was refining your authenticity. He was shaping your compassion so your rise wouldn't just inspire people, it would heal them. You carry resurrection in your voice now. The same way light breaks darkness without sound, that's how your spirit works. Without shouting, you're shifting atmospheres. Without striving, you're saving souls. Because chosen ones don't just rise, they ripple. Heaven didn't anoint you to impress the world, it anointed you to impact it. That's why you survived what others didn't. That's why you found peace when others lost hope. Because your purpose was never popularity, it was power through purity. Now, every platform God gives you is sacred territory. Every eye that sees you is a soul being touched by heaven's reminder. You are a walking revelation, proof that grace still moves through ordinary people to perform extraordinary things. And the same angels that guarded your silence are now guiding your reach. Your rise is not random, it's a rescue mission. The time has come for the chosen to unite. You were never meant to stand alone on your mountain. There are others, hidden, healing, rising, waiting to hear your call. When the chosen come together, darkness loses its disguise. When your story meets theirs, the world starts to awaken. That's why your silence had to end, because now your voice carries the sound of freedom. Every chosen one who hears it will remember who they are. This is no longer just your victory. It's heaven's revival through you. Chosen one, this is your calling, to to rise so others can remember they were never forgotten. To speak so silence becomes strength, not shame. To live so your life becomes the proof that God still moves through the broken, the quiet, the chosen. You are not the echo of your pain, you are the announcement of your purpose. And now, heaven says, go and awaken the others. The global awakening has begun. Across nations, hearts are stirring. Chosen ones, once scattered, silenced, and hidden, are beginning to remember who they are. It's not random that you're hearing this now. Heaven is activating a spiritual frequency across the earth, and your soul is responding to it. From quiet bedrooms to crowded cities, from broken homes to burning hearts, God is gathering His warriors. Not with noise, but with knowing. Not through titles, but through truth. You can feel it, the shift. The energy of the awakened rises from silence into divine alignment. This is not a coincidence. This is prophecy unfolding. The chosen ones are being positioned in every corner of the world. You'll find them in classrooms and boardrooms, in prisons and pulpits, in hospitals and on highways. They don't wear crowns on their heads, they carry them in their spirit. They speak softly, but when they do, creation listens. They're the light workers, the intercessors, the misunderstood souls who never fit in because they weren't meant to. Now, their season of invisibility is ending. God is revealing them one by one, strategically placing them where darkness once dominated. And when the chosen rise together, even nations will feel the vibration, because divine energy travels faster than fear ever could. Every chosen one carries a piece of heaven's heartbeat. When you awaken, heaven expands through you. That's why your pain felt so personal, because your healing would be global. Every battle you faced trained your spirit to carry light in dark places. And now, as you rise, your frequency links with others like you, an unspoken network of divine resonance. You'll start recognizing them, not by face, but by energy. You'll know them by the peace they carry, the power they hide, the light they refuse to dim. Together, you are the proof that love is still the greatest force on this planet. Heaven is orchestrating divine collisions. You'll meet strangers who feel like old souls, allies who appear right when you're about to give up. Because when God activates His chosen, connections become cosmic. The right people will find you, not because of algorithms, but because of alignment. Your words will travel to those who need them. Your energy will reach those who are ready, and your story will awaken those who are still asleep. This is how heaven moves in the modern world. Not through temples of stone, but through temples of spirit. And you, chosen one, are that temple. The world won't understand what's happening, but the chosen will. They'll sense the stirring in the atmosphere, the thinning of the veil, the acceleration of destiny. Systems are collapsing, souls are awakening, and while others fear the shaking, the chosen recognize it as birthing. This is not chaos, it's creation. The old world is breaking, so the divine can rebuild. And you, every chosen one, are part of heaven's blueprint for renewal. That's why you couldn't quit. That's why you had to rise. Because you are here to anchor light when the world trembles. Your silence trained you for this exact season. Heaven's army doesn't march, it vibrates. You're not fighting with weapons, you're fighting with frequency. Every prayer you whisper, every act of love, every moment of stillness radiates spiritual energy that shifts realities. You're not just surviving, you're stabilizing the world through divine vibration. That's why your energy feels heavy some days. You're carrying global weight in spiritual form. But remember this, you're never carrying it alone. Thousands of chosen ones are lifting with you right now, unseen but united. Together, you're forming a field of faith too strong to be silenced. This is what heaven meant when it said, "On earth as it is in heaven." Prophecy is no longer ancient, it's alive. It's breathing through you, through us, through this moment. Every chosen one awakening right now is fulfilling something written long before they were born. You were chosen for this generation, the one that would see the old crumble and the divine rebuild. You are the living bridge between what was and what will be, and as the light within you strengthens, you'll see miracles where logic once ruled. Because heaven is not coming, it's already here. It arrived the moment you remembered who you are. Chosen one, the silence was the seed. The rise is the bloom. And now, the world will feel the fragrance of heaven through your life. You are not just part of the awakening, you are the awakening. Every breath, every word, every act of love you release is shifting timelines and healing nations. This is the era of divine return. And you, yes, you, are the sound of heaven rising. The light is spreading faster than darkness can react. Across continents, a quiet fire is igniting. It doesn't roar. It hums through artists, teachers, healers, parents, wanderers who suddenly remember why they're here. This is heaven's renaissance. Every chosen one carries a spark, and together those sparks form constellations that light the earth. Governments will not cause it. The media will not announce it. But you'll feel it in the small acts, a stranger's kindness, an unexpected apology, a sudden surge of faith in the hopeless. That's heaven transforming the world in real time. The same energy that resurrected you is now resurrecting humanity. The vibration of love is overtaking fear. Once, fear controlled the narrative. It is divided, distracted, and deceived. But now, chosen ones are releasing a new sound, forgiveness. When you forgive, the atmosphere shifts. When you love without agenda, systems lose their grip. When you pray instead of arguing, nations begin to heal. That's how heaven wages war. Through compassion, not conflict. Your calm is a weapon. Your peace is resistance. And every time you choose grace over grudges, the light expands another mile across the planet. The transformation is internal before it's global. Heaven rebuilds hearts before it rebuilds cities. So when you heal, you help humanity heal. When you rise from shame, a chain breaks somewhere else. Every act of faith creates a ripple that someone you'll never meet will feel. That's the miracle of collective divinity, a network of unseen miracles weaving through ordinary lives. The chosen are heaven's circuitry, transmitting light through empathy, courage, and truth. And soon, the frequency will be so strong that darkness won't find a place to hide. The world will call it a coincidence, but you'll know it's coordination. Heaven is aligning moments that logic can't explain. Movements for justice, unity, compassion, all rising simultaneously, like tides pulled by a single moon. The moon is God's timing, and the waves are His people. No leader will claim it, no empire will contain it, because this awakening belongs to no one, yet includes everyone. It is heaven's heartbeat returning to the earth through the chosen ones who finally decided to listen. You are the prophecy walking. Every step you take in light rewrites history's narrative of despair. Children yet unborn will live freer because you healed now. Cities will breathe cleaner because you prayed now. Hearts will hope again because you love now. This is what it means to be chosen, to live as living evidence that darkness never wins. You're not waiting for the world to change. You are the change unfolding. Every sunrise you witness is heaven whispering, "Keep going, the light is working." The sound of the chosen is harmony. Different voices, one vibration. Different stories, one spirit. The poet, the prophet, the parent, the peacemaker, each carrying a tone that, together, becomes heaven's song. And when that song fills the earth, the old systems will crumble not from war, but from wonder, because nothing built on fear can stand in the presence of love sustained. You were born to be part of that chorus. Your silence was your tuning. Now your voice is ready for the symphony. Chosen one, the awakening is here. And it began the moment you said yes to light. The world will feel your frequency. Heaven will move through your humanity. And generations will thank you for holding the line when darkness tried to silence you. You are not watching prophecy. You are prophecy fulfilled. The vision is already forming. In the spirit, you can almost see it, an earth washed clean of noise, shimmering with the quiet rhythm of compassion. Cities hum instead of scream. Hands that once built walls are planting trees. Every nation breathes a little easier because the chosen remembered what love sounds like when it becomes daily life. Children laugh without fear, elders speak without bitterness. The ground itself seems lighter, as if creation finally exhaled. This is what heaven meant by renewal, not escape, but restoration. A healed humanity, awake to its own holiness. Technology no longer distracts, it connects. Screens carry light instead of comparison. Words once used for argument now carry prayer. The internet becomes a river of remembrance, flowing with stories of mercy. Every chosen one adds a drop of grace until the tide turns entirely toward truth. Even the algorithms bow to love when enough hearts vibrate higher. And though the change began in silence, the sound now is harmony, an unending chorus of healed souls building the new world by simply being kind. The old shadows try to whisper, but no one listens. They fade because attention is their oxygen, and the chosen no longer feed them. Justice no longer comes from judgment, but from illumination. People see clearly, act wisely, and forgive quickly. Governments serve instead of rule. Faith becomes function. Miracles become ordinary. And you, yes, you, stand in the center of it all, realizing that the same peace you fought for in silence has become the planet's pulse. What you healed inside has healed the outside. Heaven's dream and Earth's reality finally match. It's not perfection, it's alignment. Work feels like worship, rest feels like prayer. Every sunrise carries purpose, every sunset carries gratitude. No one chases light anymore, they live it. And you remember the long nights when you doubted this day would come. But it did, because chosen ones kept believing when belief felt foolish. You are looking at the future you helped create simply by refusing to give up. The final revelation: heaven was never far away. It was always waiting in the spaces between heartbeats, between breaths, between moments of forgiveness. The kingdom wasn't above the clouds, it was beneath your ribs. And now the whole earth mirrors that truth. The veil has thinned because love thickened. This is the prophecy fulfilled, not through thunder, but through tenderness. The chosen didn't conquer, they cultivated. And what they cultivated became the new creation. Chosen one, this is where your silence has led to the sound of a healed world. You didn't just rise, you raised reality with you. Every prayer, every pause, every act of unseen faith became architecture for heaven on earth. The story ends, but the mission continues. Guard the light, grow it, give it, because the future now carries your fingerprint. The time of concealment has ended. What God built in secret is stepping into the open. Those who once mocked your faith will now witness your fulfillment. They'll see the doors open without explanation, the favor flowing without reason, the glow that can't be imitated. Because the glory that rests on you isn't luck, it's lineage. It's divine inheritance finally unlocked, and every silent seed you sowed in tears has broken the surface in power. You are walking proof that patience is the highest form of warfare. The watchers are awakening too. Those who doubted you are starting to feel conviction, not competition. Their spirits are stirring, realizing the same God that raised you can raise them too. That's how revival begins, not with judgment but with reflection. You weren't chosen to be worshipped. You were chosen to remind the world what's possible when surrender meets purpose. Your rise wasn't for applause. It was a mirror, and now countless souls are looking into it, asking, could God do this for me too? The answer is yes, if they dare to believe like you did. The enemy's last tactic is nostalgia. He wants you to look back, to miss what broke you. He'll whisper that comfort is better than calling, that the familiar is safer than freedom. But you've come too far to fall for recycled lies. The wilderness trained your hearing. You recognize the serpent's tone even when it speaks in sweetness. You know now that peace without purpose is just a prettier prison. And so you keep walking forward, eyes steady, spirit anchored, because you've seen what's ahead. And it's far greater than what's gone. The chosen don't just survive storms, they sanctify them. Your suffering wasn't wasted, it became sacred. Every heartbreak rewires your heart for higher love. Every betrayal fine-tuned your discernment. Every disappointment pruned your dependence on man so you could depend on God. Now you move differently, lighter, wiser, quieter. Not everything deserves a reaction, because not everything deserves your energy. You've mastered the divine art of stillness, and that stillness has become your superpower. That's why peace follows you like a shadow, because you finally became one with it. The new you intimidates the old world. They see you shining without their approval and panic, because they no longer have control over your identity. They can't label what they didn't build. They can't curse what heaven has crowned. So they watch, hoping you'll fall back into old patterns, but you never do. You've outgrown the need to prove anything. Your silence is no longer submission, it's sovereignty, and that quiet confidence burns louder than their noise ever could. You're not reacting anymore, you're reigning. God is preparing public recompense. What was taken privately will be returned publicly. The same rooms where your name was slandered will echo with your testimony. The same mouths that cursed you will confess they were wrong. And it won't be revenge, it will be revelation. Because heaven doesn't humiliate, it illuminates. Your rise will be gentle, but undeniable. Your story will carry both grace and glory. And those who once pitied your silence will realize it wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. You are entering the season of evidence. No more explaining, no more proving, no more justifying what God told you in secret. The fruit will speak, the anointing will speak, your peace will speak, and the world will finally understand. You didn't lose, you were being launched. This is not the end of your silence, it's the sound of your arrival. The wait wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, chosen one, everything hidden in you is about to be revealed through you. Chosen one, this is it, the moment heaven has been shaping since the beginning. All the silence, all the pain, all the waiting, it converges here. You are no longer the same soul who trembled in the shadows. You are the risen, the refined, the revealed. Your scars are crowns. Your tears were rivers that watered your destiny. And every voice that doubted you has now become the echo of your triumph. The world can no longer ignore what heaven has anointed. Doors that were closed are opening. Favor that was hidden is overflowing. Your presence shifts atmospheres. Your words ignite hope. Your faith becomes contagious. Because the chosen ones don't just rise, they awaken. Look around. Look within. Everything broken is being restored. Everything delayed is being delivered. Every quiet prayer is now a public testimony. You weren't raised for applause. You were raised for alignment. Not to compete with the world, but to complete the mission heaven planted in you. So rise fully. Walk boldly. Shine without apology. The silence that once defined you is now the power that defines you. You are living proof that God finishes what He starts. You are evidence that heaven works in secret before revealing in glory. You are a beacon for every chosen soul still waiting to remember who they are. And now, chosen one, it is time to live, to lead, to awaken, to rise, not just for yourself, but for the world God entrusted to your light. If this message has awakened your spirit, declare it. I rise in heaven's timing. I am chosen. I am light. Comment it, anchor it, live it, like this video to spread the light further. Subscribe, not as an audience, but as part of a movement, because the rise of one chosen is the rise of many. The silence is over. The chosen have risen. The world will never be the same. Amen.